Hello, welcome to Homeschooling Dr. Mama in Business. My name is Dr. Priscilla. I am the mama at the Godwin's residence. I have 2 children who are sleeping right now, so I can manage to record this video. Wow. I'll be sharing my 3 major reasons as to why I homeschool and 3 ways to get started, just in case you're curious. Let's grab a cow, anything, and let's get started. Getting started is really very interesting. So when I got Godwin's, that is my firstborn daughter. She started school at around the age of 2 years. Yeah, so at 2, she was already in school. As homeschooling, I was doing it myself. And there's I was following a certain curriculum, which I'd been gifted by a very good friend of mine. It came in form of a book. The book was called Montessori Toddler. So when I read that book, I was actually very convinced that education and learning basically starts at home. And I was ready to give it my all and teach my daughter. So we get going. Everything was okay. She was catching up well with her routines. She was catching up with her milestones. Most of that was during the COVID time. And then post-COVID, things changed a bit. She used to have neighbors where she goes for socialization. She would go and have playtime in the afternoons. But this time around, all the neighbors around those are the little kids she would play with were in school. So she would come to me, especially in the mornings. There was this particular friend of hers called Mary. So she would come to me and tell me, Mommy, I would love to go to school just like Mary. And I'm like, okay, that was day 1. She did that for about 3 days. And I'm like, I need to talk to your dad about this. So I actually opened up to the dad. We had a long chat about it, and finally we agreed that we should take Faivona to school. Then the next battle was now with school and what would we want for our daughter Faivona. So we came up with all our reasons, all our goals that we wanted for our daughter, and then also settled for our school. We enrolled her into an international school. Well, this school was delivering an international baccalaureate curriculum. And I should say, it is not a bad school, but it wasn't really a bad school. So she enrolled, she was there for about a year. When she was getting into that particular school, we shared with the teachers her progress, because she was already in school. Remember, we shared with the teachers her progress. And we as well shared with them what we would want Faivona to learn for that particular school. They're open enough. And for the pounds you pay, they really give you time. So you would have time with the teachers to discuss your daughter or your child. If the child has special needs or specific needs you wanted to address, you would still address them. Of course, with an end in mind, yeah. So we discussed with these teachers. We told them what I wanted or where I would see Faivona at the end of the year. And they seemed to actually get it. We got started. Faivona would get up very early in the morning, would take her, drop her, and I would do the picking as well. But I realized that this particular routine, I think, was not working for her. It was kind of making her slow down. The progress was not being visible. Well, with that, I actually decided to take it a bit slow. I talked to the dad, that was term 1, and the dad was like, no, let's give it another chance. Let's wait for term 2 and we see her progress. So when we used to discuss still with our teachers about Faivona's progress and our expected milestones, where we wanted to see her, the vision that we had for her, and many other factors. But with time, we actually realized it was not the best for us. Yeah, despite the fact that it was an international school, I should say, it was not delivering what we wanted for our daughter. Well, we decided and made up our minds to leave. So we opted instead now for a local school, a school that was just close to our home to deliver the Ugandanized curriculum. You can imagine that rapid, sudden change our daughter was going through. Move here now, we're taking it here. But with kids, they are very open-minded and they really adjust very well. Faivona didn't really have a problem with that. She adjusts quickly and she'll fit in. So we enrolled her into this local school. We explained to the teachers as well. We basically just went through the same process, but now the Ugandan schools, for them, they are something else. I'm not trying to bash down anything here, but I'm just looking specifically at my daughter. So I should, when I'm to compare that two, I think the other one, the international school, was kind of a better fit for her, but I want the best for my daughter. So with the Ugandan school, I must say the socialization was there, but it was not the best. The manners and behaviors that I was starting to see in my daughter were ill. I should say they were ill. So I decided to talk still to their dad. You know, it's the moms who are always doing that on the close follow up, always talking to teachers when they go to school. So basically, it was me doing the filling in. So I tell the dad and talk to him, and then now we finally again settle for homeschool because of very many factors, most specifically to do with our daughter. Well, up to the part of how to get started with a homeschool. For Favona in particular, we decided to do it gradually. We had to decide on what we were going to do for her, how we were going to do it, and we had to be sure why we were doing it. So it involved so much research. We read a lot of books. We used the internet, Google, YouTube, Pinterest, every source of information that we come across. We had to read until when we actually made up our minds. We wrote down the goals we wanted for her. We wrote down the objectives, the action plan, and how we are going to proceed with the journey, the homeschool journey. So the action plan actually involved us withdrawing her from the school where she was, but we had to do it gradually. Given that there are certain things which she had to unlearn from the old system, we had to make sure that the days she was going the other side were less than the days she was at home. In other words, we used to take her to the other school for 2 days, and then 3 days she would be back at home. So we kept doing that while reducing the days. We reduced the day to 1, and then we finally completely settled into our own school. This time we didn't want to rush any progress. Yeah, so we decided to take things step by step. So when she finally settled in well, things started moving as planned. So the other thing really that helped us was good books. You know, before, when you don't have information about something, when you're ignorant about something, you really cannot tell whether it will work out, you really cannot tell how you do it, but you gain the confidence. The more information you get, then the more confident you get at doing that particular activity. So I would love to share 2 good books that actually helped us to make decisions. One good was called the Read Aloud Family. It was written by Mackenzie. Then the other book was called The Brave Learner. Brave Learner was written by Julie Bogan. So those 2 books were really helpful. They gave us tips, ideas, stepwise actions. There's a lot shared in the book reading that we would pick and add into our routine. So rather than the books, there's a lot of information on the internet. In particular, there's also a Facebook page for Ugandan schoolers. Doing that research of ours, we managed to come across it. And actually, this thing is being done, though it is something that has, I should say, is not so done on a wide scale in Uganda. I don't know whether really people do not know about it, but I believe maybe they are just ignorant about it. They don't know what to do, how it is done, just like we were. But to kill that curiosity, there's a lot of information out there, and it is very helpful. Yeah, so basically after making our decision, using all the information that we had, I'll be linking the information sources in the comments. So the other bit that we considered was the curriculum. Luckily enough, we had tested both the international curriculum and the local curriculum. So when we were settling for curriculum, at least we had some information. There were things that we picked from the Ugandan curriculum that we wanted our daughter to benefit from, as well as things from 2 international curricula that we chose. So if you'd love to actually know the particular curriculum we chose, look forward to my next YouTube video. And the last thing that we all need is a support system. Homeschooling is not something that is widely done in Uganda, so it is not good to actually do it alone. You need support system, you need people around you, need people to talk to, you need people to ask when you need answers. We actually had to find fellow homeschoolers in Uganda, and luckily enough, there were already some homeschoolers within our vicinity, which helped us to easily form our groups and to actually gain more confidence into going for the homeschooling. Yeah, rather than that, thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. I look forward to chatting with you in my next video, which is going to be about choice of curricula and why we went for that particular curricula. Bye bye.